Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. They did their job. They came here and got one.
They want to be a little bit more physical with Anthony Davis.
This has been a masterful response by the Warriors.
Back in the series, all we can do is win one. Now we got to go take it on the road.
Thompson fires up a three. Got it.
Hello, Klay Thompson. Lighting it up tonight.
Not satisfied. We know we just evened it up. Got to go to L.A. Hopefully do the same thing and enjoy this run.
Lakers and Warriors will have Game 3 for you tonight here on ABC. It's the 5th playoff series between the legends, LeBron and Steph. Curry has taken 3 of the previous 4. The only series LeBron won came in the only 3-1 comeback in finals history. For more on how the fans view these two legends, here once again is Kirk Goldsberry.
I want to be the best player in the league.
To be the best to ever play the game has motivated me.
LeBron James, Stephen Curry, the two most influential basketball players since Michael Jordan. Together, they've helped elevate and reshape the NBA in the 21st century. James is now the all-time leading scorer.
The king wears the crown.
Curry is the best shooter ever. Both superstars are among the most popular hoopers ever, but as they face off for the 5th time in the playoffs, it's worth asking what exactly do fans prefer about each of these players. A brand new poll commissioned by ESPN helps us answer that exact question. Who would you rather start your team with, James or Curry? That's a tough choice, right? Well, 55% of fans said they would start their team with James. However, 54% of fans also said Curry was more likable. He's got such a nice smile, and who can't relate to moves like this?
That could be the greatest move I've ever seen live. No, I'm being serious.
What about overall impact on and off the court? Both guys have changed the game, but still, over 2/3 of fans say that King James has made the largest positive impact on the NBA and basketball in general. And 62% say he's made bigger impacts in the community, too. Okay, cool, but let's say a big game is on the line in crunch time. Who would you trust more with the ball? 53% of fans said Curry, probably because of shots like this.
Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
James is no slouch in the clutch. Just ask the Pacers, or the Spurs, or the Wizards. And finally, the billion-dollar question. Who is the better overall player? 65% gave the nod to the king. That's a landslide. And it's also evidence that while Curry has had a remarkable game-changing career, when it comes to the court of public opinion, LeBron James is still the king of the NBA.
All right, absolutely fascinating stuff there that we put together this week. And so, Stephen A., equally fascinating was the take that you had this week on First Take. Got a lot of people talking. So I'll put it to you in the form of a question. How can Steph Curry still surpass LeBron James on the list of the greatest players of all time?
Well, to me, first of all, when I think about the greatest player of all time, obviously I think about Michael Jordan. I put LeBron James at number 2. But what I would make an argument to counter that point and to accentuate my point is that the best player isn't necessarily on the Mount Rushmore. We've talked about Wilt Chamberlain being the best. Nobody's put him ahead of Russell. Why? Because he's got 2 rings and Russell has 11. By the way, 2 as a player coach. So we take that into consideration as well. We've lamented or debated whether or not Steph Curry should be perceived as the greatest point guard of all time. But we know that Magic Johnson was a 5-time champion, but Magic Johnson could never shoot like that brother could shoot. When I think about Steph Curry, I think about this. If he were to win a 5th title, guys, 5 titles, 2 MVPs. This is the list. Allow me, because I got my research here. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, and obviously Steph Curry. That's what we're talking about here. 5 championships, 2 league MVPs. Then we look at him against LeBron. Is he a better all-around player than LeBron? Of course not. We know that. Does he have, when you think about LeBron and the incredible impact that he has, nobody's going to debate that. But Steph would have 5 titles. 3 of them is beating LeBron, obviously, in the championship round. When you take that into consideration, along with the fact that LeBron joined D-Wade, okay? Remember, Kevin Durant joined Steph Curry, went the other way around. LeBron joined D-Wade. And what has Kevin Durant done before and after Steph Curry? We take all of those things into consideration. It's not about who's the better player. It's about who has the better resume. And I would say if Steph Curry wins the 5th title, a legitimate discussion is warranted as to whether or not he belongs in a place reserved for LeBron James.
It's a fun discussion, Stephen A. And I was with you, of course, when we sat in a room and talking to certain Hall of Famers about this. It's a great discussion. I don't know that the 10 consecutive finals don't separate LeBron from everybody in the generation. It's kind of like Federer and Nadal. Like, how can you consider Federer the greatest of his time or all time when he's like 18 and 24 or something against a guy in his own generation, in his own time, in his own peer group? So I hear you, and the finals wins will separate Steph Curry in that way. I think the discussion is cool. I think it has to play out longer. I got to see more.
Agree.
By the way, I ain't putting anybody at the point ahead of Magic Johnson. Not me. So for me, it's Russell, Magic, Jordan. Those 3, and that's chronological order. And then 4, I vacillate. Jalen and I were talking about this last night. I go back and forth. I could put Kareem in there. I have LeBron usually. I could put Kobe there. And by the way, no discussion should leave Kobe like outside the door. No.
I can't.
So no, I'm not. And so
I'll explain why.
So Steph has more time. I mean, he's 35. Suppose he wins 2 more. So your point is very well taken. It's a great conversation to kick off.
It is a great conversation. And to do this comparison, you got to be sophisticated enough to respect and compare errors.
Amen.
And I agree with you, Wilbon. There's certain greatness and achievements that a few players have accomplished to me that probably will never be surpassed. Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson. They're in a league of their own, in my opinion, because of the accomplishments, because of the rings, because of the greatness, because of the dominance. As it relates to Steph Curry, I think he has a ways to go to get into the top 10 of all time. Players like Larry Bird, Kobe, Tim Duncan were mentioned also. They have accomplished what, if not more, than Steph Curry in this league. And also, it's 2 sides to the floor. We can't ignore the fact that some of these guys were dominant defensively as well. We can't turn it into a rings conversation because if it's only about rings, then Bill Russell's the Lord of the Rings and the game is over.
Not going to debate that. All valid points. What I would tell you is this. I have Steph Curry in the top 10. We can debate who comes out of that list. I doubt it would be Larry Bird. But I'm telling you right now, as great as Larry Bird was and as great as that era was, what we're seeing Steph Curry doing, we cannot ignore. When we talk about Magic Johnson, this point, obviously the quintessential prototypical point guard, 6'9", with the court vision, the basketball savant that he was, his passing ability, fine. But he couldn't shoot like that, and he scared opponents in a different way because Steph Curry's movement without the basketball puts everybody's head on the swivel. When you talk about competition, we talk about eras. That era was tougher, but let's also remember, Bird had Parrish and McHale, okay, with Ainge, Dennis Johnson, and all of that. Larry Bird said, greatest player I ever played with was Dennis Johnson. God rest his soul. We know how great he was. Magic did have Kareem and Worthy and Norm Nixon before Byron Scott, with Michael Cooper, with Mike Thompson, and all of these brothers. So look at what they had available to them. And then when you think about LeBron and the decade of dominance, we also have to take into account the Eastern Conference was relatively weak at that particular moment in time. It didn't start until you joined D-Wade and Bosh. Then when you went back to Cleveland, you had Kyrie and Kevin Love. Nobody had that. Your stiffest competition was Paul George in Indiana. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you take into equation competition that LeBron had compared to what exists in the 80s. I'm sorry. I can sit up there and make an argument against that. And then you look at Steph Curry. Hey, you were in a lineup with Klay Thompson, Draymond. They're Hall of Famers because they won, but it starts and stops with Curry.
Quickly, so you're putting Steph Curry now ahead of Larry Bird?
I think I am.
All right, Chris Russo's on the phone. He wants to talk to you. That's Mad Dog Russo on the phone.
LeBron,
if you know, you know.
LeBron definitely top 5. A lot of people consider him the greatest. Steph is flirting with the top 10. But the crazy thing, when the NBA came out with their top 75 list just a year ago, KD was 12 ahead of Steph. That's interesting a year or so later.
6 days.